When the term scale your business is used, those who have never scaled their business say, amazing, I'm going to make more money. This is going to be so fun, and so on. But those who have scaled their business say, oh, I'm going to now have complex delivery. I'm going to have more people. I need to hire XYZ because I can't handle the capacity that's going to come to me. I need to know the know how in case of something breaks within the system, and so on. So there's two responses that you can get. In this video, I'm going to show you how exactly you can scale your micro or macro service that you have, and a series of services if you have. And I'm going to show you examples of how I've done it for a very simple task, which is a marketing task of creating content. And in the end, I'm going to show you a live demo of how you can run this on n8n, Airtable, and a couple of other tools as well. That being said, let's jump into this video and get this started. So let's see how you can scale any service you have right now using AI solo. That means if you have IP right now, if you have a know-how, you have a certain way of doing things within your business, whether it's a microservice, a macroservice, whatever it is, I'm going to show you how you can productize that and scale it using AI, because you don't want to put more time or make delivery complex or spend more money or hire more people or get a bigger team just to deliver a certain service to a bigger amount of people. I'm going to show you how you can do that with AI. Point number two we're going to discuss over here is I'm going to show you a real life application of a marketing task and how I've done it for me and my clients as well. And this is demo over here, but I'm going to show you a demo of a podcast where we're going to take a podcast that I've been wanting to watch by the Diary of the CEO, as you can see over here. And we're going to use that within n8n and see how that works. A quick note over here, the tool, the agent, the application does not matter as much as the systematic thinking that I want you to take out of this so you can do it for your business. Whatever application you have, you can apply to your business. If you don't know who I am, I've run a couple of businesses in the past, pursued my PhD, launched satellites into outer space, done a couple of cool things in the past, and I've been doing the business thing for a really long time. In particular, I've been scaling service-based businesses for the past 2 years, and in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can use AI to help you with all the process. So as we've talked before, and as you know, a traditional organization usually looks like this. There's a CEO, the founder, the business owner, or someone who's overseeing everything. If you're a solopreneur, let's say, you may not have team members. This all is you. So the point I'm trying to make over here, that there's a strategy level at all times, and then you have the operation departments, which is operational level, and then you have the task level. So if you break business down to the small components of every single business, you see that it comes down to a single task that can be done. For example, you have the CTO looking at the strategy of the technology going around, the CFO, the strategy of the finance going around. Under them, there are operators, which are the operation departments. There's a marketing head, operations head, and whatever. And then under that, there are employees who do the tasks. So the task is where AI looks into, and AI fits in terms of, okay, we know how to do this particular task. How can we use AI to and leverage AI to scale this task to a bigger scale, essentially? So the application we're going to look at here is my framework of how I create content to get buyers. So there are many ways of creating content, as you are aware. You can create content to give free playbooks, DM scripts, cold email templates, and so on. But there are types of content that you can create to get buyers. And the biggest concern I hear as well from many people saying that I've been creating content for a really long while right now and nobody's buying from me. And usually the problem comes down to that you're speaking to the wrong people, most of the time market sophistication, or you're creating the wrong content. And this is where two different frameworks comes in, which is the Hamur protocol. Hamur in Arabic means filthy rich. So Hamur protocol, essentially it means the whales. How can you talk to them? And perspective shifting content is you don't give value, but we give perspective shift, which is more valuable than value itself. So this is the main and core premise of what we're gonna do in the IP we're gonna take into AI today, and I'm gonna show you an example of how I've done it in n8n over here. So essentially, these two things, if you combine them together, they're going to give you insights and shift your perspective for people to match your perspective in terms of the content you create. This gets you real buyers because now they have that chemistry, or they're aligned with your line of thinking, and they're not just going to be free school members who never buy. Because we've seen many people launch free school communities. They have 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 members, and once they launch a paid community, nobody buys from the paid community. And this is the problem we're solving over here. But if you take one level deeper, why are we doing it? Why just not do it manually, create the content every single day, and so on? First, you make yourself, or why I did it is to make my life easier. And second, if I want to give it to my clients, for example, if I'm showing clients how to create such type of content, the time to value activation from day zero, for example, they just join Siola, I tell them, okay, you need to do this. and I give them this tool or this way of doing things using AI, they can implement it right away instead of going and learning it, testing, and just understanding the fear behind it and practicing and so on. So this is the time to value. Just bring it so short to seconds instead of days. And this is the biggest levers you can pull for retention if you have a coaching, consulting, education type of business. Or it could be a SaaS as well that I vibe code and tell you, okay, this is a SaaS I have. The subscription is $9 per month. You can use it. It's going to create content for you as much as you want for $9. And you can add a credit system like ChatGPT, OpenAI does, or whatever it is. And a very, very important point, and we talked about this in the past. This is us adding AI within our business, right? Right. But the biggest point is this is a personal productivity opportunity and it's not a business performance opportunity. A series of such tasks or applications will drive revenue and make more money to the business. But if we're just doing it alone, which is create content or make your life easier in terms of content and so on, this is personal productivity. As you as individual, you're going to benefit the most, but not the business benefiting the most. And both go hand in hand, of course, but this is primarily personal productivity. Very important point. So, since I want you to understand the systematic way of thinking, instead of just jumping into n8n and pulling a bunch of nodes and putting it together, I want to show you what exactly we're doing in terms or from a business perspective. So, point number one is we ask ourselves, what is the bottleneck of the business right now? Bottleneck meaning what is the future problems that we may have in terms of if we don't solve the pain points or the problems we have right now. The bottleneck within the business is this is too time consuming. I'm not going to be able to produce content that scale in this way, and I'm going to produce the wrong type of content. I'm not going to get leads, and I have have an objective of, for example, quitting my job, or I have an objective of doing whatever, getting more leads or scaling the business, and I'm not going to get to that objective. I'm going to stay in my job forever, and so on. That's the bottleneck of the business. So we need to solve this bottleneck right now. So then you say, okay, how can or what do I do right now that's causing me the pain points which I'm facing right now? So you put inputs and outputs, and this is my space mind coming into play, where I've been specializing in systems engineering and, in particular, navigation, guidance, and control in satellites. And I used to draw such things every single day, but much more complex engineering way. But essentially, it's inputs, outputs. There's a black box over here. There's a feedback loop coming in, and there are disturbances. For example, today I wake up, I'm lazy, and this is disturbance. Or today I wake up, in this case and for this particular case, I wake up and the program I'm using is not working. This is a disturbance that could break this system. So essentially the inputs here could be my voice notes, a YouTube video, a transcript, whatever it is in terms of something I've done in the past. So whether it's a podcast or a text I've written, a blog post, an article, whatever it is, we can feed it to the system, and what we want out of that is insights or a content skeleton that we can use for whatever piece of content in the future. For example, if I give it a full podcast, in this case is what we're going to do. We're going to give it this podcast because I've been wanting to watch this podcast, but I have not had the time for the past couple of weeks. Super busy with the business and so on. But I've been wanting to watch this, so I'm gonna just feed it over here. And it's gonna give me a couple of insights. What are the most important insights? And those insights, one, you could use it as content for yourself, which I don't recommend. If it's your piece of content, yes, use the insights. But if it's not your piece of content, it's most probably not your knowledge. So you're using AI for the wrong cases over here. But essentially, you get the point. Feed it something, get insights out of this, or get a content skeleton, which I'm going to show you how it's going to come out as. And we're going to feed it into Claude over here, Anthropic Claude, and we're going to see, okay, we're going to give it the content skeleton, make a piece of content in my style for me using this. Amazing. So what are the steps if I'm going to do this manually? Point number one is I'm going to watch a podcast. If I'm going to do this manually right now, I'm going to watch a podcast. I'm going to transcribe it. I'm going to read it. I'm going to extract all the insights out of it, or I'm going to watch it. I'm going to write it down, all the insights out of this. I'm going to record it in a database, which is I have insight 1, 2, 3, 4, for example, on Google Sheets or Excel or whatever you're going to use, or even my notepad. And then I'm going to look through it again, look at the particular code so I don't lose the tone that it was said in or the examples they used. And then I'm going to create a certain content skeleton that I'm going to also put it in a database, whether it's in Excel and so on. And I'm going to use that in terms of this is the what, this is the why, these are the codes, and for example, different columns and so on. So what's the pain points on each of these subtasks? Subtask number one is it's super time consuming and it's a routine task. just identifying or transcribing it or just going through it. This takes me time. For example, this is 2 hours and 30 minutes. I need to watch this for 2 hours and 30 minutes minimum. If I'm going to print it out as transcript, like I need to read it for whatever my reading speed is. That's point number one. Point number two is I need to understand how can I look at insight. What does an insight look like? And this is my IP essentially. How can you get perspective shifting content and write it in a way that talks to the buyers within your niche or your market, and get them all out and just put them in a format that, or extract them out of the full video that you're going to watch. And then that's time consuming, of course. And then you need to record it in a database. That's very routine. So you're going to type it down in database. This is inside, this is how it looks like, and XYZ. Then you're going to reread or rewatch the video to get the exact parts that they said, the exact examples and so on. So you're going to go back in the video, get the example and type it down, then go back again because you forgot it, get the example again, and so on. And then you're going to create out of all of this a content skeleton, which is all time consuming. And you're rereading and you're rewatching a couple of times just to get insights on a content skeleton that you can use for long form content, for articles, and so on. I know this is a very, very simple example, but the main point and what I'm trying to make over here, and I want you to understand, is the systematic way of thinking about these things and how you can add AI within your business. So this is the input, this is the output over here. And then once you get insights, you can use it for yourself. Okay, I get what the best insights out of this is, or I have a content skeleton that I can use for long form, short form, blogs, articles, and so on. And then under it, I write, okay, if these are the inputs, these are manual tasks, this is the pain points, and this is what I want to get as an output. What could AI do in this case, me understanding how AI works, and how can I use AI to do all these tasks for me to get to this insight? So for example, I'm not going to go through all of this, but example number one is AI identifies what outputs you give it and then does the pre-processing to always end up with text you can work with. And this part it corresponds to this part over here, which is this weird thing, which I'm going to go into details with in a bit. And then you look at, for example, extracting all insights. Okay, I'm going to use my frameworks. I'm going to get exactly how I do it and make AI understand, or an agent understand, this is exactly how I do it in my way, and this is how it works. I want you to extract everything from this script over here, or whatever video over here, or this URL, or this link, or whatever it is. And then once I put all the AI workflows down, I look at the complexity score. Is this feasible or not to use n8n or any tool that I want to make this or execute on this? If it's a yes, 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 then we go ahead and execute it within our business, because one, to solve the problem, the bottleneck. Two, we prove that it solves for the pain points. Three, that it's a very critical task within the business, and so on. Like it checks a lot of boxes. So now I want to show you live how this looks like. So just a brief, this is how it looks, and let's go on n8n. This is how it exactly looks. So you have input over here coming in from Airtable. I'm going to show you Airtable. This is my Airtable, and you put just a link over here. You choose whatever it is. For example, I have idea and transcripts, and if I put a transcript or idea over here, what's going to happen is I need to check it, and I need to say this is a transcript. It gives me an update over here in terms of the notes. I kept a formula in terms of here, just so it's easy for the clients to understand what's happening, whether it's raw or whatever it is. So I just put the link over here, put the transcript, put a check that I want to extract insight out of this, and just keep everything as is. And it's going to populate over here. So what's going to happen is it's going to take this link. This link essentially is a transcript of a video, the video that I just showed you. And then we go back here, it extracts it, it limits it to one, just in case I have this issue of I've checked maybe 5 boxes by mistake. And then it looks at whether it's a transcript or an idea. If it's a transcript, it goes over here, downloads the file from Google Drive. It checks whether I gave it a PDF, a Google Doc, whatever it is, and then it extracts and just puts it in the right format, which basically is this part over here. So we're just pre-processing to end up with a text file that we can work with for the AI. So this gets this job done. And then we start extracting the insights over here. So as you can see, AI goes through this. The frameworks are all within this part. I had that by mistake. So it's within this part over here. So the framework just gets extracted, and then use the code to just get all of them and put them into the insights tab, which is somewhere over here. And I'm going to show you just in live how it works. And then it's going to go through the transcript again to check, okay, what codes can I get from the transcript to add it within the boxes over here, and then post it again. So now let me show you live how this works. I think it's going to make more sense. So you clicked it, check, and we click on this yes, and then we click on test workflow, and let's see what happens. So it took the file, and then it went to the right path. It's a transcript, amazing. Then it checked what type of file it is. It's here, it's a text file. It extracted it. So right now, if we go see, you're gonna see it's extracting information over here. So these are the information is getting extracted. So let's see. We have 26, right? So let's see what happens. So it's working. Now it went to each one of these. So starting with the first one, and we should see 27. 27. Traditional education systems are inadequately preparing students for AI-driven future. So this is a what in terms of the content. This is a problem-based content, and then why it's important, and where do we look for the solution. And you just see it added this file over here, which is the details in terms of what was said. Let me see what was said within the podcast that it decided that this is a insight that we need to extract. So this is one of the things that was said. So it's one of these things where I wonder what it is, what it is it that we need to teach people at school, and so on and so on. So this could be a piece of content that I'm going to use. And you can see the skeleton over here, which is this skeleton over here. You can see it's a JSON file. So what I usually do is I go here, I take this, I copy this, and let me stop this for now. So I just want you to see that it's going through it one by one, and it's going to give me 9 insights in this case. And let me just stop it so you can see a bunch of other insights coming out. But let me stop it for now because I want to show you how it works. So it stopped it here. Amazing. Now we go to Claude, for example. Now I have the content skeleton. I go to Claude and say, write for me a piece of content using this skeleton in my tone and style. So you need to know that this chat over here in Claude, I set it up based on my style. I gave it a bunch of examples, bunch of prompts. As you can see, it told me, okay, I got your example now. So this is the content skeleton. Write it in my style. So let's see what happens. This is my ghostwriter instead of hiring one. So it's drafting the artifact. So as this works, I mean, this makes life so much easier. And you can see it's written over here, but I'm going to go through it in a bit. But it's written it in my style. It matches my style and XYZ. And I'm going to show you what I give it in terms of an follow-up prompt in this case. So it said that our education system is preparing kids for a world that does not exist, and AI is about to make it worse. Have you noticed how we're teaching our kids like it's 1950 is exactly how I would write it? I've been thinking about this problem for months. School are teaching kids how to be human LLMs, memorize this, recall that, fill in the blanks. Meanwhile, this is actually a good post. So, and even good for a script of Instagram and so on. So essentially, this is how I write content as well. So it's got my tone really well. And you see how fast we did that. So uh, yeah, a very important point I want to make here, and I've seen as well, is many people are starting content SaaS businesses and so on. But you just saw that this could be a content SaaS. I just need to put in into a website, put a monetization plan on it, and so on. That's my MVP. How to create content really fast in my framework that sells. That's what could be the headline. Or make $10,000 per month with 30 posts for $2 per month, or something like that. I can put something catchy. Anyway, so the point I'm trying to make over here is that you see how easy it is. And this was not my words. If it was my words, my podcast, for example, all I need to do is record one YouTube video just like this one and just put it in this machine over here. And it's going to give me an output, for example, 9 pieces of post. And I had to do nothing more than just feed it in within the system. I hope this ignited a couple of ideas in your mind of how easy you can now productize any SaaS idea you have, whether it's service you're running right now or a microservice, macro service, whatever it is. You can make it into a product and sell it to other people, or either use it yourself or give it to your clients as well. You're not fully transitioning it into a SaaS in this case, but you're making everyone's lives easier, and that's going to increase the retention of the clients you have. One, you're going to give them more value, and the new clients that are going to come in on day one, they're going to get the value that you have promised them to get as well. So look, this just is positive for you in every way possible. So I don't see any reason of not you applying it within your business today.